That's our focus this morning, and we've got a response from Abuja.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. I have with me Honorable Tajudeen Yusuf, who is the Chairman, House Committee on the Capital Market. Honorable, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, you've seen the context in which the governor of Kaduna State spoke. Apparently, it would seem that the National Assembly, or more specifically, is it the House of Reps, were holding a retreat in Kaduna.
National Assembly bureaucrats.
National Assembly bureaucrats.
Yeah.
And the Speaker of the House happened to be there. Now people, saw the response of the Speaker at that same forum. And then, shortly after, we heard just on Monday that the Kaduna State government had released certain figures and also, told a number of people that its figures are available on its website. But then, yesterday, the House of Representatives responded. Would you say that the response of the House of Representatives is appropriate to the response that was given by the governor of Kaduna State?
I think so. I think what I saw, or let me start from the beginning. After the governor's statement, the Speaker, from what I listened to, was not joining issue, was rather saying he should expand the scope of discussion. That, yes, but we should take this to security votes of governors. Thank God you're a governor now. Take it to local government fund. That the National Assembly for the past maybe 7 or 8 years has continually spent money on constitutional amendment to make local government free. I think that was what I listened to that day. I listened to both of them. And I think the intention is to say, this is a good idea, what you just mentioned now. But can we expand the scope? The National Assembly budget in 10 years, by its estimation of the governor, is about 1 trillion. The local government budget in 10 years is over 10 trillion.
So these two statements at that particular forum could have been described as made in good faith.
That's the way I look at it.
Now, would you say then that the rejoinder of the House of Representatives has to be very specific? Because I do believe that when the governor of Kaduna State was speaking, he also made very strong reference. He said the National Assembly, in particular,
the Senate.
The Senate. Now, looking at the response of the House of Representatives, now when they go, we wish to advise. Trying to get that statement now. We wish to advise the Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, to concentrate his efforts in governing Kaduna State and stop undermining and distracting the National Assembly in playing its constitutionally assigned role in nation building. They accuse him of launching an attack on the National Assembly on Friday, 7th of April. Did you see that as an attack?
The belief of most members who read through was that what he released, by what I understand, is the security budget, not the security vote. The difference is that security budget is budget allocation.
So perhaps that's how you see the response. But then my question is, were his words, were the words you listened to, an attack on the national? Was that how it was perceived?
The response, not these words at that forum.
I think that
the response, I read the statement from one of his aides.
The words of the National Assembly, Honorable Namdas, are very clear here. He said he launched an attack on the National Assembly on Friday, 7th April. It meant that at that forum, the words of the governor of Kaduna State were perceived as an attack. Is that how National Assembly members saw it?
I do now. I will not hold brief on Namdas on that.
No, but this is a statement coming from the House of Representatives.
Yeah, I must be sincere with you. When I listened to both of them that day, I felt it's an attempt to expand the scope of anti-corruption crusade. However, when the governor now released those figures, I see that's an attempt to undermine that fight, and present a false information. To those who are not aware, it will be assumed that he has released the security vote. There's quite a huge difference between what is security budget and security vote. And everybody is aware that when executive make a kill, is security vote. If you follow the narrative in Plateau State about the former governor being proved out, you follow the case very well. You hear the non-disclosure expenditure. We are aware that that's where we take care of a lot of things. Travel by private jet or what have you. But what we're saying is that if we all must seek equity, must go to equity with clean hands. And that we should expand. The Speaker even made mention of judiciary. He didn't even talk about the executive and legislators alone. He expanded it to the judiciary. That that the budget of National Assembly and judiciary is on first line charge. That we should make sure, because before this crisis, I believe it was last year's challenge about budget, it was made clear that 2017 budget must be made public. And the bureaucrats have been instructed that way. Unfortunately, the budget is not yet passed now. 2016 budget has a lifespan that lasts till May this year. So we're still running the 2016 budget till date. So what I see is that I feel what is going on is positive, is good for our polity for the first time. Let's have this discussion. Let's have people at this level come out with this. I'm aware, and everybody should be aware, that salaries are not nothing. It's allowances. If you remember when the present president came on board and said he slashed his salary by half, I remember the governor of Ekiti State came out, I can't forfeit my salary. It's allowance. So he published his salary and the security budget. That was everybody became alarmed. That is a deliberate attempt to send the wrong signal. He
didn't just publish his salary and the security budget. He also published the budget of the state, of Kaduna State. Yeah. He said that the details were available online, and they have been for a while.
The detail of the security budget vote?
Of not just the security, of the
security
budget.
Vote. We're particular about. Security vote.
So for you, I mean, in the National Assembly, you are particular about the security vote of not just the Kaduna State governor, I believe.
The entire security vote of governors.
Of governors.
That was the spirit in which that statement was made. That, hey, Mr. Governor, this is a good idea. But why don't you expand this discussion to Governors Forum? Make them release their security votes to the public. Make them release the local government fund. If you remember, between 1999 and some 2000 or 2001, you had people in local government doing a lot. The former governor of Edo State, around 1990-something, made a lot of noise about local government. He was already chairman, local government in Edo State. But from around 2002, which local government can you genuinely say is doing something serious? Unfortunately, when the laws are passed at national level, the state assemblies do not have enough balls, enough gut to give what is the two-thirds require to give teeth to it. Because the governors break down the state assemblies. So if you have a tier of government that is supposed to bring development to the people, and unfortunately they cannot operate, nobody can tell you how local governments operate because of the so-called joint account. So we are all saying across board, we must genuinely begin to think out with how governance is being run in Nigeria. We must bring transparency to the board. That's why I'm happy about this discussion. It is nobody now will we assume there are certain items that cannot be discussed. The National Assembly is under obligation now to publish its budget with this discussion. If you don't publish your budget, if you don't publish a budget now, by implication, we have a lot to hide.
Do you think that perhaps the National Assembly can start by publishing previous budgets? Why do they want to start from 2017?
Previous budget, I don't really know this leadership decision that took that decision, but I think the previous budgets are available. See, let me tell you one thing about National Assembly. I got there and I got to realize that is how it is. The bureaucrats have a huge role to play. But unfortunately, people assume it's the elected officers. And by first year, I raised this question on the floor and I discovered that when I got the breakdown, remember the budget then was, in 2012, was 150 billion. And I discovered that the bureaucrats and the capital budget took 90-something billion. But to the outside, 150 has been allocated to elected legislators, senators, and reps.
So don't you think you should have been doing yourself the favor a long time ago?
I agree with you.
By bringing this budget to the fore.
I was there last year at the peak of the budget crisis, and I raised the same thing. I said we do ourselves a lot of good by bringing it to the public, by making people see. I asked a question somewhere. I said, do you know how much it takes to do one public hearing? Just a 1 hour live on public hearing. And that it is expected that you at least if you're doing such, you must take at least the opening ceremony and the initial narrative public. So the National Assembly, we should do ourselves a good favor by deliberately making this to the public.
But the National Assembly, from the statement that Honorable Namda has released on behalf of members of the on behalf of members of the House of Representatives, looks like it is averse to criticism.
No, I will not. I have not read the detail. I've read a bit of the headlines this morning about it, but I do not believe that's the spirit. If it sounded that way, that is not the spirit. It is not possible for a National Assembly to be averse to criticism. And I want to tell you about which arm of government is most criticized in Nigeria?
We will take
the National Assembly.
We will take a moment now, and I will point out specific lines to you from that statement, and you can respond to them after this moment. Do join us again.